Years ago, a few years ago, I had a huge project that I was doing where I was installing gas into four properties that I have, where we were switching over from oil to gas. So it was a big project. It was a 200-foot driveway. Then we had to split off that to four different branches to go to four different houses on one lot. So I started the process through National Grid. At the time, it was about maybe 8 years ago. And just through a series of errors and problems, the project was taking almost a year and a half to get done. In fact, some of the frustration was that National Grid doesn't dig in the winter, so they'd say, "Hey, look, there's a moratorium in the winter. We can't dig in the winter." So then I'd wait for the summer. Well, we're too busy. So it happened for 2 summers and a winter, and I called 42, 43 times to National Grid. One of the things I learned from my attorney, who's still my attorney today, way back when, and I am so happy he taught me this, to put everything in writing, no matter what it is. If I have a conversation with somebody on the phone, I follow up with an email in writing. Always put things in writing. So throughout this process, there was an application process with National Grid that I felt initially. Then you have to talk to different, departments, the dig department. Then you have DigSafe. And then you had the meter department. This was for gas. And then you have to set up the accounts. Again, 42 phone calls. The job wasn't getting done. It was getting pushed off, pushed off. I kept accurate records of every phone call and every time I talked to somebody. I always get people's name. I say to them, "Hi, my name's Jeff Butler. Who am I speaking with?" And they'll say, whoever it may be. And now I call them by their name, so I'm having a professional conversation with them. But I also write it down. The number I called, who I spoke with, what the conversation was about, and how long I was on the phone with them. After almost 2 years of frustration where my project was not getting done and it was holding me up on renting these houses, I sat down and I wrote a letter. It took me about 3 hours. I wrote it to the president of National Grid in Syracuse, New York. I'm thinking, yeah, what's the chances he's going to read it? It was very detailed. I said about 7 pages long. It had I actually submitted with it all the applications, the paperwork, and I went right through the chronological order of what happened from the day I met with the first rep and the fact that it wasn't installed yet. I sent a copy to him. I also sent a copy to the local district office here in Rhode Island. 2 days later, I get a phone call. It was actually a vice president from New York, introduced himself to me. And he told me that they were so impressed with the letter I wrote and how detailed it was that they were going to use it for training their people, because it showed where somebody would tell me, "Okay, so-and-so is going to call you back." Well, they didn't call me back. Or, "I'll call you back." And they didn't call me back. And they were so impressed that he said, "Look," he said, "this is, we always get complaints, obviously, but this was so detailed, we believe it all." He said, "So we're going to follow up with a phone call to you, and we're going to get your job done for you." I said, "Oh, thank you very much." I was so happy that they actually got my letter and read it. So sure enough, a couple days later, a representative from the Rhode Island office called me, told me that New York contacted them, brought them up to speed on the problem. It was somebody who I had never talked to before, so obviously it was the right person. And she was fabulous. She got the whole project done. They got it done in like 2 weeks, dug the trench, put the gas lines in, got the thing completely done. So her name was Lynn, and she was fabulous. Great job. So just like I wrote a letter to them complaining and explaining my problems, I followed up with a letter to them of how excellent Lynn was in helping me solve the problem and getting the project done. She was fantastic. Now, the reason this is even coming up is because since then, I've probably had 50 different National Grid projects with all my houses. I like to switch over to gas, installing gas lines, and we have to submit applications, the work orders. Well, I didn't know this, but they always go to Lynn. So Lynn remembers me, and every time I send an order into her. So the other day she called me up because she had some questions on one of my orders. I said, "Lynn, you have been fantastic from day one. Ever since that letter, you've been great." I said, "I don't know what I'm going to do without you." And then she sprang it on me. She's retiring. After all these years of having great service and her doing a great job, she's retiring. I couldn't believe it when she told me that. And I said, "Well, you're going to have to put me in touch with whoever covers for you, because as far as I'm concerned, National Grid Gas has been phenomenal with me. I've never had a problem since that day." The electric side's a whole different story. That's still, I don't really have a rep there. I have nobody I can talk to. I call and get held on, put on hold for hours, transferred. That's a mess. But National Grid Gas, and I can't believe she's retiring. And yesterday, I'm actually starting another project, and a rep came out from National Grid, and I was telling him, I know this lady, Lynn. He goes, don't tell me, Lynn. I said, yeah. He goes, I don't know what we're going to do. She's retiring. I said, I know. He goes, we're inside. She keeps everything together inside. So this one person, I guess she's been there 40 years, is fabulous. But do you see, like even me as a customer and people she works with, see how valuable of a worker she is. She's a problem solver. And she's leaving, and it looks to me as though they don't have anybody that's going to pick up, the ball and run with it. And that's too bad because she was fantastic. I don't know her except that she helped me out all these different times. And it's good to see that a company like that, a huge company like that, has somebody so valuable to them. Hopefully they realize it. Hopefully when she retires, they take really good care of her. But I got to tell you something. I'm actually nervous now that I'm going to go back to square one without a good rep. But I wanted to share that story because I know, you go online. There's so many negative comments about utility companies and this and that, but she's been great, and you can see even the people that work there recognize how great she is too because she puts it all together. So I just wanted to mention that.